Okay, let's have a look at this home link or study link 8.4, areas of irregular figures. And what we need to do is figure out how to find the area of figures like this. So when you have simple shapes like this rectangle, you can simply multiply 3 times 2 or count each square and figure out the area of this is 6. But when you have this shape, which is actually Sao Paulo, which is a state in Brazil, it's not perfectly matching up with the squares, so we've got to figure out a way to do it. And also, please note that each grid, each square equals 2,500 square miles, so we're going to need to do some multiplication in the end. But first, let's just see if we can figure this out. How many squares is this? And I'm going to start the easy way with rectangles. So if I could look at this part right here, those are full rectangles, and that is 2 by 5, so that's going to be 10. And what about if I look at this right here? That's going to give me 6 more. What's next? How about if I look at this part here, these are basically, this one is definitely fully, this is full, but these are almost all full rectangles, so I'm going to count those as well, and I'm going to add those on. So that's giving me 5 more. And let's see, if I added up all of these together, that might give me 1 more. So I'm going to call it 1 more over here. How about this bit? That's basically 1. And I bet you if I added this and all these together, we'll call that 2 more for all of these pieces together. And how about, I'm going to call this 2, because if we added this bit in here, that would give me 2 more. And then why don't we call this bit over here, that's about 3. 1 full 1, 2, add those together, that would be 3. Sure, why not? We'll call this bit 3. And then one less, oh no, a couple more pieces. This is about 1.5. We'll just call it 2. And then over here we have, I'd say maybe about 3 more maybe. Let's see, 1, 2, maybe a little bit more than 3, but since we gave this one credit for 2, we'll call this one 3. And I'm going to say that's probably got about everything covered. So what do we have now? I'm just going to check off as I add in my head. We got 15, and that would give us 18, 20, and then 25, 31. I'm getting about 34. You might have a little bit different, but that's about, for me, I think it's about 34. So I think we have 34 grids, but each grid is about this much, so we need to do some multiplication. So 3,500 times, or no, I'm sorry, 2,500 times 34. If I just add this 100 on later, I can just multiply 25 times 34. And then don't forget to add that bit later. So I'm going to do it like that. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 20 is 80. 30 times 5 is 150. 30 times 20 is 600. And that gives me 850, but don't forget, we had 2 extra zeros for that 100. From my own calculation, I'm looking at about 85,000. And again, you may have a different number from what you got here, but I got about 85,000. And then I think this next bit you can just do on your own and estimate how big this is. So again, I would say like probably those 4, and then just decide how much you're going to make it by putting other pieces together and figuring out what it would be. And then don't forget to multiply by 2,500. Obviously, we're going to have a smaller number for Rio de Janeiro because it's a much smaller space. But go ahead and try that one on your own. And then it's been a while, but let's review adding and subtracting decimals. So the important thing to remember with this is to line up your decimal points as you add them up. So that's actually pretty straightforward. Then you can just add it like normal and your decimal point will stay there. If you've got an extra place, like this goes into the thousands, I should have written a little bit more spaced out, then you can just add a 0 here because that's this equal to, after the decimal point, it would still be equal. 11 hundredths is equal to 110 thousandths. And then just subtract it the way you normally would, or add it the way you normally would. And keep your decimal point in the same place, and pretty simple. Now for subtraction, again, same thing. Line up your decimal points. And number 4, I think you can get on your own, so I'll do 6 as an example. So we have 57 and 1/10, and we also have 39 and 2 thousandths. And again, the problem here is that we don't have enough numbers out here, but 1/10 is equal to 100 thousandths. And we know that because if you multiply by 100 over 100, that's what you would get, right? So 100 thousandths is equal. I can just add those, and now take this tenth, and then I think we're okay to go. And now, let's do it. 890, decimal point stays there. And that is our answer. So, again, that is home link 8.4, or study link 8.4, and thank you for watching. Bye.